What's up everybody, it's me, Bobby G, and we're gonna try another cooking video. Last time we cooked frugally. This time we're going to make up a concoction and just keep track of all the calories for the most part that we're putting into it so we can get a rough idea of how much we're consuming. So I'm gonna do a quick ingredients list, probably an unconventional list as maybe last time, but hey, that's how Bobby does it. Yes, I did just refer to myself in third person. So the first thing we have here, this is a gift that I got from someone. Bison beef and cheese dogs. I didn't realize they were cheese filled until right now, but they're in my freezer and they have to get used. So I think I'm going to chop up 3 of those to put in. The other part about keeping track of how many calories are in a serving here is I'm also trying to half attempt to get kind of like a balanced meal, even though it's all mixed together. So the next thing is soup mixed vegetables that I had picked up. Just looked like a pretty good mixture, so decided to go with it. We're going to try out some wagon wheels. One of the downfalls I always seem to think about anyway is cooking and eating too much pasta. I seem to eat pasta a lot, but I'm hoping that with mixing in all this other stuff, it's a little bit better than just eating carbs all day long. A can of petite diced tomatoes, a can of sauce just to complete to go with the tomatoes, excuse me. No Bobby meal would be complete without some tuna. And this, I think, is what I'm going to do differently this time. I'm going to put some horseradish in it. I don't see why not. And I really don't use horseradish much. So what am I going to do with this can? And that's usually how I make everything. I just throw it in a pot. Whatever's in my cupboards, in my fridge and freezer, goes in. And let's not forget the spices, which I love to go wild on. It's crushed red pepper, garlic powder. I'm going to try out this no salt seasoning that has more random kind of things in it than I'm going to list, like onion, celery, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to try out this chipotle hot sauce. It's in my fridge, so I'm going to use it up, and it's pretty good. And this is more basil. I thought one of these was celery, or parsley rather, but I was wrong. So with that, I think first up, oh, and here of course is me heating up the water for the wagon wheels. So hopefully this will come out okay. I did write down all the servings and calories per serving for everything that I just showed you, minus the spices. I'm not too worried about the spices. Most of these things don't even have caloric content. Like this horseradish somehow has 0 calories in it. I don't understand how that's possible. Again, I'm not sure if this will show up, but this hot sauce has 0 calories in it, which is also ridiculous. So I'm just guessing that it's low enough that it's not that big of a deal. And most of the spices, if not all of them, except for probably the hot sauce, doesn't have any salt. So I just figure that it's not that big of a deal. So with that said, I think next is to chop up the hot dogs. Got my new knife. Knife action shots are always important. Perfect. Next up, water's boiling, so it's time to put the wagon wheels into the pot. Don't forget to stir. The only thing that we have to drain this time is the tuna. Okay, we got the tuna drained, we got the lid off the tomatoes, and I think that's actually all the hard work we have to do this time. Just waiting for the noodles to boil, so I'll be right back when they're finished. Okay, so I lied. I obviously had the tuna to drain, and I said that was the only thing, but I just drained the pasta, and I've been leaving this frozen bag of vegetables defrost for a little while. They usually defrost by the time you're going to eat them anyway, so that's next. It's still really hard to do everything with one hand, but here is the tuna. Perfect. Next up is the sauce, and I think after we dump this in, we'll give it a bit of a stir. Here's how we're looking so far. It looks like a bit of a mush, but all in all, I'd say we're doing pretty good. Let's add the rest of the ingredients. The tomatoes. I didn't drain these because I figure it'll just help give the whole thing a bit of a sauce appeal. The hot dogs. They all did eventually make it, I promise. The basil. Crushed red pepper. The crazy mix of all sorts of dried vegetables. Folks, never be shy with the garlic powder. Hot sauce. How I normally get horseradish out of the jar is I stick a fork in the bottle and then I use the handle to scoop out what I want. One more for good measure. Alright folks, here we are after we gave it a pretty good stir. We're going to see how many servings we can get out of this pot. If you remember from the last video, this is usually my standard serving. But since we're worried about calories today, we're just going to have to play it a little bit by ear. I might not fill the bowls up to the very top in order to get, some amount of servings that aren't too high in calories. For example, if I made only 3 servings out of this 3,032.5 calorie concoction, that would be, it would be okay, but it's kind of high, to be honest. So if we could get 4 or 5 servings out of this, I think that would be ideal. So I'm going to dish it up and let's see how we do. Alright everybody, here we are with approximately 5 equal servings. I'd say that turned out pretty good. So if you recall our little index card, hopefully this will show up okay. 5 divided by 3,032 is 607 calories, may as well be. So that's not a bad portion for lunch or dinner. So I think the ones in the dishes will be for maybe lunch for work, and this one I'm obviously going to eat tonight. So thanks everyone for joining me for episode 2 of How to Eat Like Me, Bobby G. See you next time.